Here are the materials you will need in today's tutorial, and I'll be using two colors of wait for yarn, which I will be linking in the description down below. So the first step is to take some measurements and do some math, and some of this might seem a little tedious, but it is extremely important. So first you're going to measure around the widest area of your hip in inches, and the reason why we're doing our hip instead of our waist is because the shape of the skirt is going to be more of a rectangle, and therefore it's important that it's not too tight. Second, multiply that number by 3.75 and round up if it's a decimal. And lastly, find the closest multiple of 15 to your number, and I inserted a list of some multiples of 15 that might fall in your range. And if your number happens to fall in between two numbers, for example, if your number is 110, which is between 105 and 120, it's up to you whether you want to round down or round up. If you want a tighter fit, then you can round down. If you want a looser fit, then I would round up, and that's what I did. Now write down this number because it's going to be extremely important in our next step. So we're going to start off with our waistband, so take whichever yarn you would like and your 5mm hook, and attach a slip knot to the hook. We're going to be working with the half double crochet foundation stitch, and this is because it has a lot of stretch compared to the regular foundation chain. And so if you're a complete beginner, I recommend watching the video that I'll link in the description down below. If not, follow along as I try to explain as best as I can. And so you're just going to start off by chaining 2. And into this first chain, you're going to yarn over and insert your hook into that chain. Then yarn over, pull through 1 so that you have 3 loops left on your hook. Now yarn over, pull through 1, and it's going to make sense a little bit later on, but this is going to be the foundation chain. Now yarn over and pull through all 3 like a regular half double crochet. Now we're going to repeat what we just did, so we're going to yarn over, and what I meant before is that this stitch, if you can see, I apologize that it's white and it's kind of hard to see, but there should be these 2 loops that kind of represent the stitch. And so you're just going to yarn over and insert your hook below these 2 loops that represent the V of the chain, like this. And you're going to yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 1, and then whatever we just pulled through, this portion is going to be what we're going to insert our hook into the next time. Now yarn over, pull through 3. Again, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook to the bottom of these 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through 3. Now continue this method until you reach a total of the number that you calculated in the previous segment minus 1. And so my number was 120, and so I'm just going to subtract 1, and we'll do 119 half double crochet foundation stitches. So I finished my 119 foundation half double crochets, and now the next step is to connect the 2 ends together. And so find the end of your work and make sure that it's not twisted in any way. And the reason why we did 1 less than our final number is because we're going to actually add another half double crochet when we join the work. So what you're going to do is yarn over, insert your hook into your chain as if you're making another one, but not quite. And so insert your hook and then yarn over, pull through so that you have 3 loops on your hook. Now you're going to take the end of your work, and as you will notice, next to the tail, there should be this hole here without any stitch and without any double bar, so it's just a single bar right here. You're going to insert your hook into that space there. Now yarn over, pull through 1 loop on your hook like this, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through all 3. Now at this point, you're going to find your first stitch, and for me, it's going to be right here. You're going to slip stitch into that stitch by yarning over, pulling through like this, and now you've connected your ends together. Now you're going to chain 2, and into the stitch right next to your chain 2, you're going to insert a half double crochet and continue working half double crochets until you reach the beginning again. Now once you meet with your first stitch, you're just going to slip stitch into that stitch by inserting your hook and yarning over and pulling through like this. Now you're going to chain 2 to start the new row. Now you're going to repeat this process and do 2 more rows of half double crochet. So once you reach your last row, and at this point you should have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of half double crochet, and you're going to leave the 3 loops on your hook on your last stitch, and you're going to switch colors. So take whichever yarn you're going to use and make a slip knot and attach it to your hook. And now you're going to pull this slip knot through the 3 loops on your hook like this. And then you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch of your row with that second color. Now, if you're going to use more than 2 colors, then I would recommend snipping off your first color. However, I'm going to be only using 2 colors, so I'm just going to leave this in the back as I crochet. And so at this point, you're going to chain 1. We're going to start with 2 single crochets, and to do so, you're just going to insert your hook into the 2 loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now do 2 half double crochets. Two double crochets. In order to do so, yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Now in the next 3 stitches, we're going to do a treble crochet, and to do so, you're going to yarn over twice, insert your hook into the stitch, yarn over, pull through once, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Now do 2 double crochets. Two half double crochets. And 2 single crochets. Now repeat this pattern until you reach the end of your row. So once you reach the end of your row, you're going to slip stitch into your first stitch. Now chain 1, and you're going to single crochet all across your row. So once you get to your last stitch, you're going to not pull through all the way and leave the 2 loops left on your hook. And you're going to take whichever color that you're going to use, and like I said, I'm only going to use 2 colors. And so I'm going to take my yarn that I've been putting back, and I'm just going to pull it through my 2 loops to switch colors. And then I'm going to slip stitch into the first single crochet. And if you're a beginner, I would recommend using some kind of stitch marker to mark your first stitch. Now we're going to start our 3rd row for the wave pattern. And so you're going to chain 3, This chain 3 is going to count as a treble crochet, so we're going to skip this first stitch that's adjacent to our chain 3, and into this next stitch we're going to treble crochet once. Into the next 2 stitches, double crochet. The next 2 stitches, half double crochet. Now single crochet 3 times. Half double crochet twice. Double crochet twice. And treble crochet twice. Now this is going to be the 15 stitch pattern similar to our first segment, and so you're going to repeat this until you reach the beginning of your row. So once you finish your last stitch, you're going to slip stitch into the third chain from your chain 3. So count 1, 2, 3. Into this chain, you're going to slip stitch by inserting your hook and yarning over, pulling through. Now you're going to chain 1 and work single crochet all across the top of the row, and you're going to start on this chain here. So single crochet here, then continue until you reach the beginning of your row. And on your last stitch, you're going to change colors and slip stitch into your first single crochet. So the next step is pretty simple. You're just going to repeat the previous 4 rows until you reach your desired skirt length. And just as a reminder, after every row of single crochet, you're going to change colors. And so I'm going to chain 1 and start with the first row of this wave pattern, and I'll meet you once I reach my desired length. So after trying on your skirt, if you feel like you have reached a stopping point, you're going to fasten off. If you've been using 2 colors and have been carrying the yarn just like me, you're also going to cut off this yarn and make sure to leave a long tail. So we have finished the main portion of our skirt, and our next step is to make the drawstring that will cinch the waist together. And you're going to need your 4mm hook along with the same color yarn as the waistband here. So take your yarn and attach a slip knot to your hook. You're going to chain as much as it takes to go around the whole waistband and also add a surplus so that you can tie a bow with the string. And I'll put on the screen how many chains I decide to do. So I chained 220, but of course it's going to be different depending on your dimensions. And so to finish off, chain 1 and fasten off. Now take your darning needle and weave the tail of your chain into the needle. And our next step is to weave this drawstring into the waistband of our skirt. So find the seam where we joined every row, and we're going to put this into the center. Now flip your work back so that this seam is facing the back right in the center here. And we're going to make our drawstring right in the middle, and I recommend marking it. And so if you have a stitch marker, that works perfect. However, if you don't have one, that's totally fine. And what you're going to do is just fold your work in half. If you have a stitch marker, just mark the middle right here. And if you don't, you can always just put your finger here as a reference and unfold it. And so you're going to take your needle and right into the center here, just to the left, we're going to insert our needle and we're going to weave in the second row from the top right here. And so put your needle just to the left of the stitch marker and pull the string. And you want to be very generous with the string, but don't leave too little because we want it to even out at the end. And so we're going to weave in and out in a front to back maneuver. And I'm going to alternate between every 2 stitches. And so I'm going to count 1, 2, and into this space here, since my string is in the back, I'm going to put my needle through from the back to the front and pull it through like so. Again, I'm going to count 1, 2, and I'm going to insert my needle from the front to the back this time and pull it through. Now you're just going to keep repeating this pattern until you reach the right of the stitch marker. So I finished weaving in my drawstring, and if your ends are a little bit uneven like mine, you can basically just kind of move the string to the other side and just kind of maneuver it a little bit to make the sides a little bit more even. And the reason why I said it was okay that the waistband is a lot bigger than your actual waist size is because when you have this drawstring, you can just pull it and make it a little bit tighter to your preference, and that's why I really love this element of the skirt. And now the final step is to take your darning needle and weave all these loose ends into the inside of your skirt, and don't forget to weave in your tail of your drawstring into the drawstring itself, and I will get back to you once I'm done with that. And that's it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tag me if you ever follow this pattern.